How many Tonys are there? I don't know. It's just a lot. It's a whole heckin' lot of Tonys. But they're all really cool people. That's their names. Don't make fun of people's names like that. Something weird that's like within the institute is that a lot of the clubs are led by senpais, right? But then a lot of them seem to be named Tony. Like 70% of all the clubs at the institute are like headed by a guy named Tony, and it's not even the same Tony. Well, sometimes they are, but usually it's by a different Tony. I think it's to the point where actually, like, not all of them are actually named Tony, but when they become like a club leader, they just go to the student council, which is us, and they ask, can we have like a new name for our ID card? Because when you become a like a club leader, you get like a new laminated ID card, and I guess what they do is that they kind of joke about it, and they just change your name to a version of Tony that rhymes. For example, the one who does like sculpting courses is Tony Macaroni Senpai. Crazy guy, absolutely insane. Really good at what he does, Tony Macaroni Senpai. He says, you can easily remember me because of my macaroni art. And I'm like, okay, that's great, Tony Macaroni Senpai. Like, there's this guy, who helps out with the whole, like he's a really good chef, right? He's a really good chef. He's on the 3rd floor, room 16C, I think. Tony Baloney Senpai. Which is crazy, because there's this other guy. I think his name's like Tony Microphony Senpai. He's a voice acting senpai. He's the guy who taught me a lot of stuff. There's this other guy, right? He's the head of the Final Fantasy XIV club at the institute. His name is Tony Macro Only, which is not a name that I think his parents kind of gave him. Like, imagine your name is Macro Only. What if you wanted to play Final Fantasy XIV without any macros? If there's a Tony Mealy Only, I have not met him, but I assume that it would be some guy who's really passionate about Smash Brothers, but only for the Nintendo GameCube. Tony Mealy Only. Oh yeah, there's this guy. He's the head of the what do you call it? It's like the one about like bug studies. It's not like Bug Fables, it's the one of bug studies. It's kind of cool because they have like a bunch of these terrariums. They have a bunch of these terrariums where they like grow caterpillars and then they like turn them into butterflies. They show them off like once every year at the festival. His name is Tony Roly Poly. Really cool guy, Tony Roly Poly. Which Tony's the coolest for you? I mean, I'm always like indebted to Tony Microphony for teaching me some more voice acting stuff. But I think the baking Tony is one of the coolest Tonys that I know. Because I always think that baking is one of those things that is way harder to do than people make it out to be. Because baking itself is an art, right? Baking itself is an art, and it takes a lot of careful thought and consideration, and a lot of practice. So this guy, he taught me a lot of how to like bake and stuff. His name is Tony Cannoli. Really good at making really delicious sweet desserts and stuff. For those of you who are enrolled in the institute, you probably know him. He always goes out into bake sales and does stuff. I actually don't like that guy. There is this one senpai who's really head of the business club. They're always doing some stuff about stocks and stuff. I don't really get it. But they always look so fashionable in their business suits. I mean, I guess whatever they do is legal. They're just sometimes always looking on their phones and stuff, taking a look at stock prices and junk. I think his name is Tony Busybody. Tony Busybody Senpai. At least that's how I think it's pronounced. There's this guy. He's head of this one club that goes around, does really, like, altruistic things. They do things like help out at the old folks' home. They do things like read library books to children. A lot of them do a lot of cool volunteer work. It's headed by this guy named Tony Never Alone. Like, there's something that a lot of people call the going home club, as in they just go home. I think what they do, like, on paper, is that they just say that they just, like, all go home together to make sure everybody gets home safe. Parts of me believes that, but parts of me also think that, you know, they're just using the whole club system to farm points. As long as they're part of a club, it works. Thing is that I never really saw the guy. Makes sense though. The head of that club is Tony Never Shoney. I think I made a tweet about going to the gym today. I never told you the guy's name though. The head of the fitness training program. His name is Tony Muscles Not Bony. Woof. Woof bark bark.